Are you sitting down? I just need you to know, you just be ready for what I'm about to tell you. I go, what are you about to tell me? You have a massive tumor on the left side of your body engulfing your kidney. We are 99.9% sure it is cancerous. It was like I was watching myself take the phone call and thinking to myself, I feel bad for that guy. Hung up the phone, didn't text anyone, didn't call anyone, finished working on my truck, just kept going.
Welcome to Believe in Progress, the American Association for Cancer Research Foundation podcast. Join us and be inspired by the incredible stories of those who have faced cancer with strength and resilience, and the medical professionals who are working tirelessly to find new treatments and ultimately a cure. Believe in Progress isn't just about the science of cancer. It's about the human side of this disease. Together, we can make progress in the fight against cancer and bring hope to those who need it most. Derek DeAngelis, known to his fans as Derek D, has spent his career making people laugh. More than 500 million views across the internet. Over 2,300 episodes of the two-time Webby Award-winning show Fast Lane Daily, a daily show about car news done in an irresistibly comedic way that he hosted for nearly a decade. A cast member for the Key of Awesome YouTube channel with over 3 billion views. National and international commercials, TV, film, theater, sold-out multimedia comedy shows at the House of Independence in Asbury Park, New Jersey. 3 Telly Awards, including one in 2025 for his deeply personal piece, Dear Entertainment Industry. Derek grew up in Neptune, New Jersey, right by the beach. He earned his BFA from William Patterson University and built a career giving millions of people something they did not know they needed, a reason to laugh. But today, Derek is not here to talk about view counts or award shows. He's here to talk about the fight for his life. Derek is currently battling kidney cancer. He's faced surgery, setbacks, and moments that would have broken most people. And through all of it, he has done what he always done. He has shown up, he's been honest, and he's refused to give up. Derek D is a cancer warrior. He is fighting, he has faith, and he's determined to beat this. This is his story in real time. Derek, such a pleasure to have you here at Believe in Progress. Welcome.
Mitch, thanks for having me, man. And what a glowing intro. I really appreciate that.
Tell me a little bit about your growing up in Neptune, New Jersey.
Yeah, originally from Neptune, New Jersey, right by the beach, born and raised, beach kid. I am an Italian from Jersey, but I was born and raised by the beach. My family, my parents, they're from, North Jersey, classic North Jersey Italians. But yeah, I love it, man. And I live in Wall, New Jersey now. I lived in Belmar for years, so I can't really ever leave the beach. I travel and stuff for work, but here is always home and always will be. I just love the water.
As a kid growing up, were you surfing, or did you play a lot of sports, or just hang out at the beach?
All of the above. Yeah, I played a lot of sports. I played baseball. I played soccer. I played football when I got to high school. I was a sponsored rollerblader, like rails, ramps, half pipes, things like that.
Oh, wow.
Sponsored by a local skate park in Asbury Park, New Jersey, called Casino Skate Park, which actually used to be where at the Carousel in Asbury Park, but it hasn't existed for a long time. But yeah, I was a wakeboarder. I was a bodyboarder, surfed a little bit. Yeah, always at the beach. And in the summer, I'm probably in the water. Even if I'm not hanging on the beach, I just go down, jump in the ocean real quick just to, it gives you life.
Wasn't the Carousel where, didn't Springsteen do some shows there?
Oh yeah, he's done shows all over the place in there. He's probably had some videos there and things like that. Yeah,
right.
It's right down the street from the Stone Pony and stuff.
You need to tell me a little bit about Fast Lane Daily. And 2,400 episodes sounds like a heck of a lot of episodes. Explain to the audience a little bit about that show.
Yeah, so Fast Lane Daily was a daily show about car news, but funny. And when it first started, I was just kind of like just the host. And then over the years, I became more of one of the producers, and then the comedy writer, and then we had the script for the show about the car news. But the cool thing about Fast Lane Daily was we did bits and segments and characters and things like that. So it was a daily show about car news, but it was funny. So the fans of the show would be like, "Oh, Derek D, he's like the Jimmy Fallon of car news," because we could get all walks of an audience. We'd have wives and girlfriends email us, be like, "I'm not really into cars, but my husband loves your show, and I watch it with him because we could connect on it. But I also I think, Derek D is very funny and you guys do so many fun things. So I enjoy it just as well as him and I could talk to him about it. So that always made me feel really good. And we lasted for, we jumped around a bunch of different studios in New York City. And then we finally the last studio we were in was in a studio in Brooklyn, in Industry City in Brooklyn. And Time Inc. had bought us out. And then 7 months later, they canceled us, which was pretty crazy. But, it was one of the best gigs I've ever had. I mean, as an actor, comedian, host, voiceover actor, to get a gig that lasts 9 years is amazing.
That's pretty cool.
I was, very blessed. Traveled all over the world, drove really awesome cars, went to awesome auto shows.
That's neat.
And we did a lot of fun and funny things. And the fans still reach out to this day.
How did you know comedy, was the right thing for you?
Yeah, it's funny. I was always outgoing. I always had an outgoing personality. I was born with a birthmark on the right side of my nose over here. You can't see it anymore because the doctors did a phenomenal job. But the summer after my freshman year of high school, I had it removed and it went down all 7 layers. They removed my birthmark. It took skin from my waist and put it on my face. So yeah, but I was always like that outgoing kid because of that, and I still look in the mirror and see that kid every day. But funny enough, when I was real little, I don't know, probably like 8 or something, 7 or 8, my mom entered me, like the YMCA had a clown class. They put me in clown class.
A clown class.
Because I took clown classes. I forget how old anywhere between like 8 and 12. I don't remember. But like I said, always outgoing and stuff. And I didn't really catch the acting bugs till I got to college. I don't know why. Just was late to the game.
Interesting.
But I guess I was always the funny kid, always the outgoing kid, always the kid who'd jump in the middle of the dance floor at the school dances, because I guess, like I said, I was that kid.
When you had the birthmark removed, right? Did that change your attitude or how you, did it do anything different to you psychologically?
At first, yes, because like I'm a kid, I was 15 years old. And I'm thinking, you don't think doctors could do any wrong, right? You're thinking, and also one of the reasons they removed it was it could develop cancer later in life. So, I'm a 15-year-old kid. I think, oh yeah, they go in, they cut it out, right? And a few days later, it looks like this, just looks like perfectly good skin.
Right.
I was obviously very naive. And I remember when I had a bandage sewn into my face, it covered this whole side of my face. And I remember they took the bandage off. It was like 4 days later, and the doctor was like, "Oh, this looks great." We went to New York City. My dermatologist was in the Empire State Building. We went to the greatest doctors, and he's like, "Oh, this looks great," and everything. And I looked at it, and it was this purpley, wet-looking disgust. I'm like, "What is that?" I'm like, "This isn't what I wanted," And he was saying it was looking great, and he told my mom and my parents in the other room. They're like, "It looks good, but it's 50-50. We might have to go in and do it again. And if that doesn't take, we'd have to do it again." So there was definitely a lot of risk that I didn't really know about till I got older. But it definitely, it didn't change me at all. I just think it gave me maybe a different perspective on things. But like I said, I still look in the mirror and see that kid in the mirror. And I still, when I'm on a plane or I'm on a train, I like to sit on the right side by the window. Just in case anyone sits next to me, they sit on this side. So if their face is right here and I start talking to them, I don't feel like they're staring right here.
Right.
Even though it's gone.
Right.
And they did a great job. I still feel like they're staring right at there.
Wow.
It's wild how that is.
Let's chat a little bit about the diagnosis and when your world stopped, probably for a little while. How did you know something was wrong, and what happened when you got checked out?
That was the worst day of my life. So October 2024, just getting routine blood work, just staying diligent. I always worked out, took care of my body. Got blood work. Doctor was like, bunch of things are off. Doesn't seem right. You're in great health. You look great. Let's do it again. Probably lab error. So I went back again. Same thing. Okay. So now we're going through the process of elimination here. And, I felt off, like my hemoglobin was low. So I was anemic, which meant I got tired quickly because I was getting gassed in workouts.
Right.
I do pretty intense workouts, but I was feeling way more gassed than I should.
You're a CrossFitter, right? Or CrossFit type workouts?
Yeah, like I always say like I'm not a CrossFit type guy, but I did go to a CrossFit based gym,
Mhm.
but I don't do a lot of that. I don't do any of the kipping stuff. I don't
Okay.
do, if I'm doing pull-ups, I'm doing strict military pull-ups. I'm
Right.
not swinging and,
Right.
all that stuff.
I have some experience in that myself, but yeah.
Yeah, you get it. I do a lot of high intensity training.
Mhm.
In the summer, I work out on the boardwalk a lot and pull-ups, push, all that stuff. So I was getting gas and I was like, this something's off. So not to gross the audience out, but then, it was beginning of December. I'm watching the Giants game, sitting right here by myself. I had to go to the bathroom, and there's blood in my urine.
Yep.
And like it was like you poured beet juice into the toilet. It was freaked
Scary.
me out. I said, okay, very scary. I said, all right, if it happens again, go right to the emergency room. If it doesn't happen again, I drank a bunch of water. I was like, I'll call my urologist tomorrow. Didn't happen again. Called my urologist the next day. Made an appointment right away. My urologist wasn't available, but the nurse practitioner was. And she was great. And I owe a lot to her because she's like, okay. She's like, your urine came back, test was fine and everything. And she's like, let's just scan your kidneys to rule that out and then move forward from there. I go, okay. So scheduled that for like a week later. It didn't happen again in between then and the scan. I go for a CT scan where they give me the contrast. And this was at 11 o'clock on a Friday, December 27th. I had the scan at 11 o'clock. I'm outside working on my truck. I get a call. And I thought it was another doctor calling about different results because it wasn't my main urologist. It was another doctor in the practice. And this was an hour and a half after the scan. They never call you an hour and a half after the scan.
Right.
And she's like, hi, Derek, this is Dr. Ghosh. I'm actually in between surgeries right now. My main urologist was on vacation or something. And I didn't even see the images. I just read the report. And I'm sorry I have to call you with this news in between Christmas and New Year's. And I just said, no, I'm just working on my truck. I didn't know what it said. That's what I said.
Right.
And then she's like, I need you to, like, are you sitting down? The classic, are you sitting down? I go, no, I'm good. What's going on? She's like, I just need you to know, I need you to be ready for what I'm about to tell you. I go, what are you about to tell me?
What buildup?
Yeah. And I mean, it was quicker than that, and she was like, you have a massive tumor on the left side of your body engulfing your kidney. And it's not a question of if it has to come out. It absolutely has to come out. And we are 99.9% sure it is cancerous. So there's not even because I asked, I said, well, could maybe not be cancer? She's like, there's no chance. She said, and this is pretty urgent. She's like, so I'm going to put you in touch with the best kidney doctor in the tri-state area. And I'm going to call him personally right now in between surgeries, which scared me even more. I'm like, how serious? This is very serious. And this is in between Christmas and New Year's.
Right.
This was a Friday, and New Year's Eve was on Tuesday. So I go, what do I do to go to the emergency room now? Like, what? I'm freaking out here.
Right.
She goes, no. She comforted me a little bit and then hung up the phone. And I just honestly, while I was having that conversation, people tell you this, but like it was out of body. It was like I was watching myself take the phone call and thinking to myself, I feel bad for that guy. Like it's the wildest thing. Like I was like, that ain't me. That sucks.
Right.
For him. Hung up the phone. Didn't text anyone, didn't call anyone. Finished working on my truck. Just
kept
working
going
on the engine. Just kept going. Finished that. Walked in here into that front door. Stood right in my living room. Silent. And I audibly said, what the F? And then I just got in my car. Drove to my parents' house. Walked in. I was white as a ghost. And my mom looks at me, took one look at me, and she's like, what's going on? I just go, I have cancer. It was just lost it right there. And then it was just the process of, then my phone's ringing. Thank God for that doctor. Got me in less than 6 days. That was a Friday. On Thursday, the following week, this was all scheduled between Christmas and New Year's. People were on vacation, everything. I was under the knife. Had the appointment with that my surgical oncologist on Tuesday, New Year's Eve. And he's like, this never happens, but someone canceled their surgery for Thursday. He's like, I could get you in on Thursday. I go, so like tomorrow's Wednesday and Thursday I get this thing taken out. He's like, well, if you need more time to think, I go, doc, cut this thing out of me. Let's go. I don't want to be waiting around with anxiety forever.
Derek, what was your mom's reaction when you told her?
Oh, that woman, an angel among humans. She was obviously devastated and she got emotional, but then she focused right up, you know. She's a real one.
I bet. And did you, like, was there another hardest call you had to make after that, like to anybody special in your family?
It was telling my family. My mom and dad were there. My sister found out a little later. I was still at the house when she came. We told her. That was all rough. My brother was just kind of blown away. I guess you could call her my girlfriend at the time, who I was, you know, we're no longer together, but that was a really rough one. And then obviously I didn't want to be calling everybody. So my family kind of took care of that, calling my aunts and uncles and everything. And
right.
It was really weird because the next day that night was New Year's Eve, that Tuesday. And first time in many, many years, my entire family was getting together for New Year's Eve. My cousins came in from California, rented an Airbnb, and I'm sitting there and I'm just like, this is fitting. You know, I get to see all my family together because I might not be here next year for this. You know, that's where your head goes because it was all the unknown at that point.
Right.
Didn't know if it spread, didn't know anything.
You made the decision to share your story publicly, your diagnosis publicly. That's not an easy call to make. What made you want to do that? And was there any part of you that wanted to keep this private?
No. And I think I think I didn't want to keep it private because I'm already a public person. I post about what's going on in my life. I post constantly a lot of things that I want to, a lot of things I either want to make people laugh or inspire or motivate, you know. I don't post political things. It's so saturated. I just want to put out good. But I didn't want to be like going through this and pretending everything's fine, you know, because it wasn't. And people even before I was diagnosed, people would be like, my one buddy I worked out with him and he's like, you look good, but I don't know, man, you don't look good. Like I was like a gaunt and it was, yeah. So, people would see, you know, especially after surgery and stuff, I lost like 23 pounds and, I just was like, you know what? I want to post about this because if anyone else is going through, and you hear this story all the time, if anyone else is going through something similar, cancer or not, like I'm not going to let this win, you know, because and honestly, working in the entertainment industry, being an actor and working in the toughest business in the world, I have thick skin. I get told no I audition every day and find out from auditions the days before that I don't get it. I get told no all the time.
Right.
Just so used to it. So getting this diagnosis, like I'm used to bad news. Obviously this was terrible news, but I was like, no, this isn't in my plan. Like this is in my plan. God has a plan, but this is not my demise. And I'm going to just fight like hell against this thing. So I wanted to put that out there and show people, like, no matter what you're going through, cancer or not, like you could beat it. So after surgery, you know, or before surgery, I did a couple like posts, you know, story posts, and then laid up in the hospital, I was, you know, would post some things just to keep it. Also, so many people are texting you. And I love the
anything I can do. I want to help you, support you. Right. Yeah,
exactly. And the love and support I got, unmatched, unbelievable. But at the same time, I want to thank those people. And the best way to do that, my close friends and family I could reach out to, get back to right away. but it was like hundreds of texts, hundreds of Instagram messages, it's just so many across everything. If I just put it out there on social media, people will see it. People will spread what I said. Oh, Derek, I saw he said he got through this, whatever it was. So that's really why I wanted to go public with it. I haven't been public all my life.
Leading up to surgery, let's just say like 4 or 5 days just prior to surgery, were you scared? I mean, were you nervous about this?
Yeah, there probably wasn't an hour go by that I wasn't crying, over just thinking about what could happen, what's going to happen. Yeah, it was, but the good thing, I didn't have a lot of time to think. My friend Ashley was diagnosed with breast cancer, and she couldn't even have surgery till after a ton of chemo and all this stuff. I was fortunate enough to they're like, no, we got to get you in and get this out right away, and then figure out if it spread, all this stuff. Which I was originally told that it didn't, but
right.
Cancer has a funny way of going on vacation in other places in your body. But yeah, I was scared like hell. I mean,
yep.
And ironically, I have faith in everything. Ironically, the day of the surgery, got to the hospital, I was pretty calm, actually. Even before they gave me the thing to give you this big needle to chill you out.
Right.
Kind of feels like you had a few beers or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And wheeled me in the operating room, and laying there just talking to the nurses about what I do for a living. Meanwhile, I'm about to be cut open,
big time.
Down And ironically enough, I just shot a commercial a couple of weeks ago, playing a cancer patient getting wheeled into the operating room, about to have.
Really?
Yeah. And they didn't know either. I told them once we got to set, I told the director and stuff, but that was wild because it really brought me right back to that moment. So really didn't need to act that much there.
Hi, everyone. This is Mitch Stoller, the host of Believe in Progress. I hope you're enjoying today's episode. I wanted to take a quick moment to remind you that your support is vital in our fight against cancer. As we always say at the AACR, cancer research saves lives, but we cannot do that without the generous support of people like you. If you're moved by the stories and insights shared in our podcast, please consider making a donation to AACR by visiting aacr.org. Your contributions help fund essential research and provide support to those affected by cancer. And while you're here, don't forget to subscribe to the Believe in Progress podcast. By subscribing and sharing with your friends and family, you help us reach more people with these important conversations. Thank you for your support. Now let's get back to the episode. So I was told while you were lying in bed in recovery, the movie Rocky was on. Is that true? Mm-hmm. Is that a true story? And was there some 100%. Symbolism behind that?
I think so. So I love Rocky.
Me too.
I don't know.
I do too.
Do you see that? You see that right there? That's
oh yeah.
My most favorite Rocky quote in the world. I actually made that poster and had it made, and I designed it and everything. But it's let me tell you something you already know. It's that whole that great Rocky quote. And I've always loved Rocky, and one of my best friends is a real big Rocky fan. So I'm laying there laid up, and I'm just flipping through the channels, and it was on. So not thinking this at the time, I just filmed it a little bit and sent the clip to my buddy Dom, and I was like, Dom, I go, check it out. I said, that's me. That's going to be me when I get the hell out of here and I can move again. And fast forward, I created this video that I put out at the end of August. And because I was documenting my journey, my cancer journey, because it's just what I do. And I decided to make this video, and I love that Rocky quote. And I was like, it'd be great to have that Rocky quote in the video and showing people of me going from where I was to now, and not to, it didn't have to be, if someone watches it, I just want to inspire, or motivate, even if you don't have cancer or anything, maybe you just had a bad day.
Right.
And you watch it, you go, damn, look at this guy. And I don't know if you've seen the video, but I feel like when people watch it, and it got a very great response, I feel like people want to run through a brick wall after they watch it.
It's great. I have seen it. What's that quote back behind you? What's that quote say? Is that the same?
That's the quote.
And what is that quote? Can you read it or?
The world. Yeah. Let me tell you something you already know. The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. It's a very mean and nasty place. And I don't care how tough you are, it will beat you to your knees and keep you there permanently if you let it. You, me, nobody is going to hit as hard as life. But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you could get hit and keep moving forward, how much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done. Now, if you know what you're worth, then go out and get what you're worth. But you got to be willing to take the hits and not pointing fingers saying you ain't where you want to be because of him or her or anybody. Cowards do that, and that ain't you. You're better than that. That's the quote.
And that was to his son, right?
Yeah. But there's so many things in there. Like,
oh, it's fantastic.
Yeah, there's so many things that I can relate to. It's not how many times you're hit, you get back up. And people always seem to point fingers. Oh, if they did that. No, I'm where I am in life. I mean, I didn't give myself cancer, but I'm where I am in life for every decision I made in life, good, bad, whether someone did me wrong in a relationship or something. That's not my fault, but I chose to be in that relationship, and then that happened. So I'm right where I'm supposed to be.
Yep.
So I'm not pointing fingers at anybody else. And in that video, I want to make clear for people watch it, none of that was staged, in the sense that when I was first walking around my neighborhood, just could walk, I had my phone with me. Mm-hmm. So I take it out and I'm filming as I'm walking or doing squats. And now, all right, I'm doing squats right now. I just put my phone on my bumper of my truck and I'll see me doing some squats. I didn't have the idea for this video then. I just said, let me document this stuff.
Right.
And then I was doing that. And then the beginning of the summer came around and I was like, oh, wait a second. I said, I have all this footage. I love that quote. I've been working out, all this. And every part in that video where you see me working out, mm-hmm. I was either had just worked out and was dripping sweat and then shot stuff. Because I didn't want to be like, ooh, let me just go film me doing some pull-ups real quick and throw some water on me. All the sweat is real. Everything's real. When you see me running, the drone is following me. Mm-hmm. I had on the boardwalk or in the woods, wherever that was, I had went to the gym, worked out, and then did that. Because I was like, none of this will be fake. It's because this is all real. Yeah, you see a camera there. Yes, there's a camera there. And then the parts where I'm at my gym working out, I did a whole workout first, camera off, then turned the camera on and did a ton more exercises. So I was absolutely toast gas. So it's all real. So I wanted to make sure that came across.
Talking about taking some punches. So shortly after surgery, you found out there was a spread of the cancer. Could you tell us about that?
Yeah. That was like taking a bat to the face. Well, no, right after the surgery, I was, my oncologist was like, we got it all with parameters. So we think, we think mm-hmm. obviously there needs to be more tests and stuff. Mm-hmm. And then I was good that was then the beginning of March. I had my first PET scan, March 2025. Yeah. Less than a year ago.
Yep.
I had to get the PET scan and I couldn't get CT scans anymore because I can't have the dye because I only have one kidney now. And they took out an adrenal gland, lymph nodes, a bunch of stuff. And had my PET scan thinking, no, it's going to be clear. They shoot me up with the radioactive glucose that I'm okay with. And, if people watching out there, if they, you probably know if you have any disease or anything when you get test results, it pops up in your My Chart.
Right. Now,
legally, they have to put it there. Now, blood tests, I have no problem looking at, but I made the mistake because I'm not a doctor and I'm reading. So after the PET scan, I see the results come up. I'm like, they took my kidney out. I'm good. I don't have cancer anymore. I'm reading it and I'm like, what? I see the word metastases. And I shut my computer. I'm like, I don't know what I'm reading. I shouldn't have done that. So I go over to my parents' house. My mom works in the medical field. I go, Mom, could you read that? This is before a doctor told me. And she reads it and she's like, yeah, it's in your, this says it's in your lungs. What? I'd rather a doctor tell me this in the setting where I'm ready for it. And so it was in my lungs. And then fast forward, had another scan after that, found out it was in my lower back. Not lower back, like mid, like L1. So now I got to do radiation. So I did radiation for that in my back to zap it, stop it from growing,
Right.
and then let the immunotherapy, the Keytruda I'm on, do the rest, as well as once they found out it's spread and I was now stage 4, I take a pill every day, which comes with its own side effects. Luckily, not too many because other than cancer, I'm luckily very healthy. So yeah, it's just, it was wild, but the tumors in my lungs weren't huge and they're still there. They're getting smaller. Last 2 CT scans I had without contrast, but next week I get a PET scan again, and I already have scanxiety about that.
Well, we'll keep our fingers crossed on that. Let's chat a little bit about faith, family, and the fight. What keeps you going? You said you've had faith and you were going to beat this. Talk to me about what faith looks like in the day-to-day reality of treatment. What does that mean practically?
Faith, is I think different for a lot of people. I'm not a guy that goes to church every Sunday. I believe in God. I believe in a higher power. Pray every night. Pray every morning. And just pray for health and for me to keep beating this thing and just keep God's hand on me and help me battle through this. Give me the strength to, because you have your bad days. You have days where you go down rabbit holes in your head where you're just like, one day I was talking to my mailman and Brian. Ironically enough, he was a fan of Fastlane Daily years
No
ago.
kidding.
Yeah, which was funny. But I was talking to him, came back in here, and I was thinking to myself, so I wonder when I die if Brian is going to introduce himself to my mom at my funeral, like, oh, I'm Derek's mailman. Like, you go down these morbid rabbit holes, and I'm like, why am I thinking that? So you have to reframe your brain, like when those things happen, or you go down a rabbit hole of like, I just heard James Vanderbeek just passed away of cancer, the lead singer of Three Doors Down,
Yep.
Catherine O'Hara, all cancer.
Right.
And I just get bummed out when I hear that. And I'm just like, I got to reframe. So I say a little prayer and I just go do something that I enjoy. I'll edit something. I'll go for a workout, go do something with my cars. I'll and I can't stress this enough. Cancer and other diseases, they love stress and negativity. They love it. And they fester in that. So I firmly believe chemically in your brain, if you could stay positive and motivated and you keep yourself moving, like my one of my best friends in the world and my writing partner, AK, who has been on your show, Alan Kaufman.
Yes.
I learned a lot from him. I took a lot from him because after I was diagnosed, I leaned on him a lot and I knew about immunotherapy already. I knew that he kept moving and his diagnosis because he was real bad and look where he is now. I said, he kept moving. He kept working out. He kept walking. He did marathons and he stayed positive.
So has working out and fitness been a big help to you?
Huge, especially that gym that's in that video.
Yes.
My good friend, Ryan Sherman owns it. And unfortunately he's closing the gym. And so I have to go to a new gym now, but that gym is where was my recovery, was my sanctuary. I mean, the byproduct of the physical is great, but it's what it does for the mental, the discipline. You're laying in your bed, you're comfortable. You don't want to get up in the morning, go work out and throw around steel, and you just do it. Get up, you just go do it. And then afterwards, you feel great about it. You'll never regret it. You'll never regret it. And so yeah, that's been a big part. But I'm doing all the things. I do holistic stuff. I'm in therapy.
How about nutrition? Different?
Yeah, I always watched over what I ate. I always ate healthy. Then I ate a lot healthier. And now I still eat healthy, but you got to give yourself grace too.
Yeah.
It's Christmas Eve.
Right.
Or you're at a party or something. You're at a barbecue. Eat the hot dog.
Right.
You're not eating hot dogs every day. Eat the hamburger. Have the cookie. I don't buy cookies anymore, but if I go somewhere and there's a soft chocolate cookie, I'm in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can't stop living.
There was a part of the video that you were running down the street and I think you had tossed over the huge big truck tire. I was flipping the tire. Was there something symbolic about that?
In my head, I was thinking, life is some heavy lifting. and you're going to lift it. You're going to get over it. It's going to fall. And you're like, I got past that.
Yep.
But then there's another one, another heavy lifting scenario, whether it is you get hit with cancer, a loved one dies, a relationship ends, whatever it is. So that in my head was the symbolism of that, me flipping the tire. But you just, what am I doing?
Right.
I'm moving forward. I'm not flipping it backwards.
You talked about Alan, and you're still pitching a sitcom, I think, with Alan called Coppin Stales. Is that correct?
Coppin Stales, yeah. It's the working title, yeah.
Always being creative as you are, does that help you with your with dealing with cancer?
100%. 100%. That goes back to what I said earlier, just working in this industry. And but being creative, it releases what is it, oxytocin and and all that stuff,
endorphins and things like that.
Endorphins, and all that stuff. Is oxytocin the bad one? Sorry, I might have messed that up.
Don't know.
But whatever the good chemicals are, endorphins
Right.
and things like that.
Yes,
it releases that stuff, and that stuff is healing for your body. But I mean, if you're you hate your job, and you go to your job, and then you also have cancer, and you're like, oh, you're in a negative space. Like we got one life to live, and I've always had a good perspective, I think, on life, but after cancer, perspective switched a lot. Like I literally live my life one day at a time. That's why that video is entitled that. Like, I'm here with you guys right now. We're shooting. I'm present in this moment, and that's where I'm at in life. I plan as much as I can for the future, but I also work in the entertainment industry, so that's who knows.
right.
But I mean, I don't know when, but I know the sitcom's going to get picked up. I know being creative helps me in multiple facets, helps me with my health, helps me with my mental, helps me with just dealing with everyday life. And yeah, the sitcom is based on Fastlane Daily, especially when we were moved to Brooklyn, Industry City. And it's really like a workplace comedy, kind of a little bit The Office, an ensemble cast mixed with maybe you've seen Silicon Valley or things like that, but it's based around a daily automotive show. So the show is based in truth, but it's not a true story.
I see.
And we've gotten bites about it. You could go to coppinstales.com. Coppin Stales is a lingo that me and my cousin made up years ago that I brought into the show. Now AK says it. So it's a working title, but if you go to coppinstales.com, you could see me and AK. I'm driving a Ferrari, sitting next to me, and we're talking about the show, and we tell you all about it and what it's going to be.
Okay.
Just recently, this is a little bit of an exclusive, but AK and I are going to do a podcast. We're going to pitch it, and we've been in talks with the people who own Fastlane Daily and the YouTube channel currently. Usually when you start a podcast, you have 0 listeners.
Right.
The Fastlane Daily YouTube channel has, when we were canceled, close to 1 million. Forget the exact number, but now we had 500,000 or so, maybe a little more. That number's dropped because we've been off. The show's been canceled for years, but there's still 300,000 people right there. So we want to do, and we already did a tech run. We already have it all laid out, super produced, just how you guys do this, graphics, all that stuff. And it's called Inside Episodes. So basically, it's AK and I talking about the behind the scenes of Fastlane Daily.
Oh, very cool.
And in the podcast, we watch an episode. So the very first episode of this podcast, we talk about the very last episode of Fastlane Daily.
Very cool.
And you see us watching it live. So we're watching it live, then we'll pause it. Like, you see, AK, where I said this right there, what was really going on in my head was this. And so you get the behind the scenes of the show, and there's 2,300, 400 episodes.
Lots of content.
Lots of content. And the content is already there. We don't have to write anything for it.
Love it.
We just do it. And we could have guests on, people that worked on Fastlane Daily.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so many things. There's so many episodes. I go back and watch an episode the other day. We did so many things. Like the fans were so intertwined with our show. I proposed to a guy's girlfriend for him on the show. So he was a fan of the show. He watched with his girlfriend.
Guy?
Yes. He watched with his girlfriend every day.
Okay.
So he set up a hidden camera filming them watching the show. And he reached out to us, sent us an email. So in the episode, I forget his name, but I was like, well, this is definitely different, but I want to talk to Jeff out there. And Jeff, sitting right next to you, that's Angela, right? Angela, hi, how you doing? I'm Derek D, and I did this whole thing, and I was like, well, Jeff wants to ask you, somebody wants me to ask you for it, and then you could answer. I was like, will you marry Jeff? And it's crazy. And so we could do one of these behind the scenes, those inside episodes for the podcast, and we could find out, are they still married? we could have him on the show as a guest. Like there's so many things, you know, being at auto shows all around Germany,
I love it.
driving cars on the Nürburgring, you know, there, and you get and I was the host of the show. So you get my perspective and Alan, AK, who is, you know, one of the main producers. So it's really a good idea. So we're planning on launching that soon. We just have to get the approval from Recurrent, who owns it, but we're in a good space with that. So
That's great.
More
That's
to come
great.
on that. Yeah.
Derek, what does beating this look like to you? You know, when you let yourself imagine, you know, what's the other side of this fight look like?
Once you're stage 4, they say they'll probably never use the word cure with you. They use remission or NED, no evidence of disease. And I've thought about that, and because right now it's cancer's not my identity, but it's such a big part of my life because it just is.
Mm-hmm.
Everywhere I look, how I feel, I get the medication gives me agita. My hand, if you can see that, my hand's peeling here because of the medication. Like there's just things everywhere. Body does weird things. I just love for that to end. But I've been told I'll be in treatment for years, indefinitely. But you know, miracles happen. Who knows? So I just feel I'd be relieved. I'd probably break down, but at the same time, I'd be like, just keep doing what I'm doing. Because I mean, another thing that bums me out is you hear people that had cancer, beat it, remission for 3, 4, 8, 10 years, comes back, and they die. Not that I want that to obviously don't want that to happen, but I hear of that and it bums me out. So to be honest with you, I just, you know, Mitch, I don't think too far into that future. I kind of really just live for today and one day at a time. That's all I could. I mean, I think a lot of people should do that. You get a different perspective when something like this happens. You might walk outside, look at the sky and be like, it's gorgeous, you know, or drive your car and be like, I get to do this still. This is awesome, you know?
So the name of our podcast is Believe in Progress. In the middle of all this you're going through, what does Believe in Progress mean to you?
I believe in progress because I think I try to progress every day. Try to do a little bit better every day. I try to like you know, whether it's the sitcom or I have a big comedy show coming up in August in Asbury Park, New Jersey. Been working on that for a while now. I'm really excited about that. So every day checking things off the list for that because I do multimedia comedy. It's not just me doing stand up. And I have a couple other comedians with me. So I set myself up for goals. Sometimes I say yes to things where like in my brain, people are like, hey, can you do another show? You can do that. In my brain, I'm like, there's no way. It's just too much work. Mm-hmm. And out of my mouth comes, yeah, I can do it. Yeah, that sounds like a blast. And then I'm in, got to go do it. And I'm one of those people, like if I tell you I'm going to do something or I tell you I'm going to be somewhere, like I'm not a flaky person. Like I will be there on time and early. I will show up. I will work. I will give you, you know, 100% of my abilities. And the same goes for when I put on my own shows and things like that. Like I'm, you know, just like Alan's like that too. Tells it like it is, genuine, try to be genuine every day and just progress towards that. Being a good person. I have my faults like all of us do, but just try to, you know, put out as much positivity as possible.
Well, Derek, you've got an unbelievable attitude. Want to meet you in person. I'd love to come to that show. Actually, you got to let me know when the show is in Asbury Park.
Absolutely, Mitch, and it's been an honor talking to you, and I really appreciate you guys having me. And yeah, that show is it's called Derek D and Friends Who Are Funny 2, but it's TOO because it's the second one. I have a poster right here hanging on my wall. It was a sold out show. My first one was in 2018. That one, Derek D and Friends Who Are Funny. This is Derek D and Friends Who Are Funny 2 TOO. It's on August 21st. It's a Friday night, House of Independence in Asbury Park, New Jersey. My birthday is the next day, cool. Which is so. Yeah, I'm already shooting stuff for it, and yeah, really, really excited about it.
You've got a great message for people, for cancer patients, for cancer survivors and their families. You're a positive force, and it's been such a pleasure to get to know you. And just, you know, we're all with you, we're behind you, and I think you're going to lick this thing. Thanks, Mitch. I appreciate that, and that means a lot. And I hope so. That's all I want to do.
You know, I don't want to sound like holier than thou, but I don't want to come across like that. I just want to inspire and motivate. A better word than motivate is for people is have discipline. You could be motivated and then you lose that.
Right.
It's the discipline. You don't want to do it. You just do it.
Right.
You know, so I hope that's what people take away from this and take some positivity from it. And yeah, I appreciate you having me on, and you guys are great. And really appreciate it.
Derek, thank you for your courage, your honesty, and for refusing to stop showing up. You've spent your career giving joy to hundreds of millions of people. Now it's our turn to lift you up. To everyone listening, say a prayer for Derek D. Send good thoughts, believe in his fight, and if his story makes you think twice about symptoms you've been putting off, please go get checked. To support kidney cancer research, visit aacr.org/give. Subscribe to Believe in Progress on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or YouTube. Because at the AACR Foundation, we believe in research, in hope, in cancer warriors like Derek, and in the power of community to carry us through the fights that feel impossible. Special thanks to the teams at CollegeCast and Audimentum. This podcast was produced by CollegeCast, and remember, cancer research saves lives.